Ladies and gentlemen, we are here, none other than the Xbox Party, and you can see the green a bit around us. It's all happening.
In the green light, Hulk-esque, you might say.
And speaking of green, we are green with envy after seeing how good Cyberpunk 2077 looks.
I think it's more specific to say that other people are green with envy that we got to see this footage.
That's true, sorry.
And for some reason, CD Projekt Red decided not to release this footage to the world. Only select people can see it. For some reason, CD Projekt Red reached out to us. They invited that. We got a random email from CD Projekt Red being like, hey Laymen, we watched your show. We would like you to come along. And we were just like,
we know now that we are total celebrities if we're getting invited by none other than the coolest developers in the world, right?
Anyway, the point is, this game is actually fucking incredible.
We'll tell you right after this. Okay guys, so look, let's face it, we didn't know a lot about Cyberpunk 2077. They dropped a bit here and there, then E3 came along, we saw a really cool trailer, but let's face it, even the trailer itself didn't really tell us what you'd be doing. Was it an RPG? Was it first person? Was it third person? Was it going to be online? Was it going to be single player? Like, what were we getting? You know,
it was a thematic sizzle reel, and I would say as well, I was a little bit cautious about it because I had hoped that Cyberpunk 2077 would be this really gritty, dark, Blade Runner-esque adventure, and that trailer almost looked like Fortnite style,
Ready Player One,
Sunset Overdrive, meets Watch Dogs in the future kind of thing, right?
Totally.
So I was a bit like, look, I trust CD Projekt Red, but I was a little bit disappointed. I was really hoping it was something darker.
And I think after we saw the gameplay, and let's just say first that the gameplay that they showed is unprecedented in terms of what I've seen. I've never seen a gameplay reel of like nearly an hour. It was an hour.
We sat there in a room with people for an hour and watched end-to-end uninterrupted gameplay. No loading screens, no awkward developer cuts, whatever, just uninterrupted end-to-end gameplay.
And it was exceptionally polished. It was totally ready for the E3 floor, and we did say to one of the guys there, hey, like, why didn't you want to show this?
Yeah.
And they just said, look, we just want to take our time, and we want to show this slowly to the community and to the consumer. So we respect that, because maybe they don't feel like it's still the finished product they want to show, but to us...
I don't know, I feel like they know that these videos are going to exist, with us just being like, oh my god,
because
you have to see this, and everyone's at home like, oh, I really have to see this. It's very smart marketing, CD Projekt Red.
The imagination itself now from everyone watching is like, holy shit, this must be like the mecca of gaming, baby.
No, but like seriously though, just to take it at a very high level,
Yeah.
This is definitely one of the most impressive 1 hour gameplay trailers or experiences I've seen. You know, to start in terms of the theme, it is very gritty, it is very dark, it's
very
very
Blade Runner.
mature. There is definitely strong hints of Blade Runner in there, but it goes further than that, and like it's also quite fast. I think a lot of the time when we think of these sorts of like futuristic, Deus Ex or Blade Runner or Detroit Become Human, even they're very slow adventures, slow stories. This one moves with a lot of pace, Even animations of your character are quick. The way things move are quick. Dialogue is quick. Decisions are made quickly. Like, the whole thing has a speed about it. It's not film noir at all. It's very much like action, RPG, sci-fi.
And the gameplay itself, it told us a lot. It told us about the protagonist, the world in which we will happily experience and discover.
You play as a character called V. You can either be male or female. And we saw the character creation at the start. We didn't see a lot of detail behind it, but they had promised extensive character customization. We saw some of the menu options. There was a lot of detail there already, and they'll probably go much further than that.
Totally.
It kicks into gear, and then we're straight into an action sequence where we're basically, trying to extract this corpse, basically, from a bathtub. And as we're making our way through there, we're shooting enemies left and right. The combat begins. And the combat looks just fantastic.
We're using
an automatic pistol in this. It handled beautifully. You have a dodge roll that you can use to go side to side or back to forward. It doesn't look like they've made any concessions with regards to the combat, because that was just the first bit of combat that we saw. Later on, you'll see we saw a rifle, we saw like a shotgun.
We saw like the way in which the guns themselves will aid you in terms of. There's a special ability that some weapons will ricochet off certain walls, which is phenomenal.
You can actually target, so you can point to the wall, and there'll be like a dotted line to show you where the ricochet part is for the weapon. You can it was so good.
There's also a type of weapon that it's like a smart bullet. It kind of finds its way to the target, even if you're steering off it. There's also
a third weapon type actually, which can shoot through cover.
Yes,
it's like a tech weapon that allows you to penetrate cover.
Another thing is, it really did show the melee aspect. These two
melee
like melee. Things that come out of your arms and you can stab people. There's also kind of a Mirror's Edge feel in terms of you can run against the wall.
You can wall run, you can wall hang, and then you can jump from enemies and like melee assassinate
melee,
and that looked beautiful as well.
So I'm very excited to see if they actually do introduce like a parkour kind of thing into the game when you are in terms of your combat grounds. And another thing that we did touch on when we were actually chatting with one of the writers is it going to be predominantly a single player or is it going to be multiplayer? And they pretty much said for now is just expect a single player experience with multiplayer maybe being in the future.
He did say to us that the online components, potentially PvP, are currently in R&D stage. He said their focus is on delivering a single player experience first and foremost. So that could mean one of two things. It could mean that there's not going to be any online components or PvP at launch,
which I think would be
which is my guess. It's a pure guess. It could alternatively mean that they'll have it ready by the time it launches. It's just in R&D right now. But my suspicion is that sort of stuff will come later. I feel like this is the kind of game they want to have a long sort of life cycle for.
Definitely.
And so that's that. But look, getting back to the flow of gameplay, destructible environments was a very big feature that we saw.
Yep.
They were definitely shooting through walls. You can see enemies through walls, and if you've got the right weapons, you can actually blow up walls, blow up pieces of cover. We eventually went in and rescued this woman in the bathtub. There was a scene akin to Pulp Fiction where you stab her in the heart to resuscitate her. She gets rescued by this special team of health insurance medics who will literally extract you from any situation and make sure you live. That's when we first saw the open world. And we went after that and saw the open world again. Yeah. The open world that you see in this game is astounding.
Absolutely phenomenal. You walk in,
I was just
and
jaw on the floor.
It feels like, I can't really. It's like the feeling you get when you first saw Avatar. This just amazing open world, completely different experience. In terms of cinematography, but the way that they position this, you just so want to explore it. You want to know more about it.
I've never seen an open world that is that large, that is that interesting in terms of its color and its design,
and thick
and
also
culture. that populace as well. There were so many NPCs walking around. More than any other game you've played.
Yeah.
It just felt like walking across Shibuya Crossing or Times Square.
Yes.
In this game that you just walked out. It was incredible.
And another thing, I think it was a lot of generous gameplay, but it also gave us a bit about what questions I think they might ask in terms of the story and the narration. It's very much it's these parts, these mechanical parts that are put into machines or put into humans are very expensive, and there's obviously a black market. There's also a lot of crime.
Yeah.
It's also a very dilapidated society kind of part, and the guy that was actually showing us this presentation did say, partly this society is full of decadence and also a lot of poverty.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of questions also that the audience is going to get thrown.
Just to be getting down to some of the gameplay details, it is first person all the time, except when you are in cutscenes where you can see your character.
And in the car.
And in the car, driving, you can drive third person, but you can also drive first person as well.
Yeah.
It is an RPG, and this is a point we need to make very clearly. This is unquestionably 1000% an RPG. The character creation has stats that you'll be able to see, and you'll be able to tweak those when you create your character.
Yeah.
There are classes, however, you evolve your class over time by your decisions.
It's a very fluid class system.
Like Elder Scrolls, for example, rather than being you choose X class.
Yeah.
There are 6 stats in the game, one of them being
yes,
how cool you are.
We saw that, they said all these kind of stats, and at the end was cool. I'm guessing that's maybe the way that you can negotiate better. Who knows?
There's a street cred system as well, where you have this level of credibility on the street. There's a lot of gear in this game. We already saw quite a few weapons available, and they all have a lot of stats on them. There was also your armor that you're able to wear, your clothing. Different jackets that you wear have protective properties. They have street cred properties.
Yes,
they have all sorts of stuff. So you literally get up in the morning, you brush your teeth. You go over to your personal armory and select which weapon you want to take out with you for the day. You go to your cupboard and you put on your clothes, which are sort of like armor, which have different stats on them.
Yeah.
And then you go out and you do your mission, And the way the missions work, obviously, is you approach an NPC somewhere in the city, have a conversation with them. This is probably a good time to talk about dialogue and choices.
And that's something that I really want to touch on, because not only have they given us a very fleshed out world, it looks like it's going to be a phenomenal story. It looks like the gameplay is amazing. It looks like they've integrated a very hard thing to do, and that's the ability to give the player choice. And it seems like from what we saw, you could definitely influence the outcome in multiple ways of every mission by doing different things. It could be, changing what you wanted to say back to an NPC, or it could be action-based in terms of you take your gun out and start shooting, or you decide not to take your gun out and start shooting. And those things are going to change your experience and change the narration and change what happens to your character. So I also had a sense of Detroit. There was a few things. I also felt like Knights of the Republic, Mass Effect in terms of the dialogue. Oh no, we're okay. We're just filming
a video. Thank you, there.
Oh, that's okay. That's going in. That's totally
That's
going in.
Going in. That's definitely going in.
That's totally cool. That's all right.
That's okay. Too good. It's totally fine. Don't worry. That's like the best footage of the whole video. Trust me. Yeah, and within that, I want to call out as well the quality of the writing that we saw. It was just so strong. Like, we played Assassin's Creed Origins today, Odyssey. Man, that writing is just the worst. It feels like video game robots saying cool things to sound edgy.
Yes.
Versus this writing feels like you're watching an HBO special. It feels like The Wire. It feels like that sort of shit.
Yeah.
It just felt real.
And you know what? When we're actually speaking with the writer off camera, we did say something along the lines of this writing feels like The Wire, and his face lit up.
Yeah, he was like, oh my God, thank you.
A huge fan, of The Wire and of good writing. And
he also did allude to the fact that this game could potentially have multiple endings. It's not just like you make decisions that affect how you complete a specific mission.
Yeah.
Your story is going to have like a meta narrative with regards to the choices that you make, and your place in society, and all these things. So keep a lookout. Cyberpunk is very likely going to have some different endings available as well, which is very exciting.
I'm super excited for it.
This game was easily the best thing we've seen at the show. It's one of the best gameplay demos I've ever seen in my life. It is absolutely, if this game exists for 60 hours or whatever, it is going to be absolutely fucking spectacular.
It really is. And I didn't think, I wasn't expecting anything less really from CD. We've seen what they did with The Witcher, but my only thing before we finish is we still can't believe that we didn't actually see it in E3. It's absolutely
I feel so bad describing this to you with this level of hype, because then you guys are like, oh, it can't be that good.
Yes.
Trust me, okay, it's that good. Just wait till you see it. I'm sure they'll release the trailer eventually. We've also got an interview with the developer who was one of the writers on the team, and he sat down with us for like 20 minutes, and he gave some fantastic insight. Expect that on the channel soon as well.
Exactly right, guys.
That's it. We've got to go now because we've got a booking with Microsoft to check out another title. Anyway,
we'll see you guys
take
later.
Care now. We'll see you later.
See you,
Bye-bye.
fam.